Kia ora. Today I'm going to be scraplifting Evelyne. Now I found Evelyne's layout on Instagram, and so I've linked that on here. Down below you can also find a link to her YouTube channel. I really liked the two triangles. One was slightly bigger than the other, coming in from either side, and I decided that it was a layout I wanted to scrap lift because I really wanted to give this kind of design a go. If you look closely at the background of Evelyne's layout, she has sort of splattered some colours. I'm not sure what she used to splatter that. However, I have decided I'm going to use some of the Close to My Heart inks. So all I've done here is just sort of smush the pad onto the backing there, and on the corner of the block I've just sort of spread some of the colour using my water brush, and I'm just flicking that onto the cardstock in the background. This technique's really good if you want a little bit more control over where the splatters and things go, because you can see how I'm sort of directionally splattering those colours off the corner sort of to where I want them. So they're not a precise type thing, but they're a little bit more control than I often have. So the two colours I used are Capri and Wildberry. And I chose these two colours because I felt that they tied in with some of the papers I'd sort of grabbed out of my scraps container. So this layout is one where I am using up a bit of my stash, especially my stash where I have quite a few papers sitting in a pizza box. So I'm going to pull out two of the colours, and I decide I want to use this palm trees type one here with the pretty colours, and I want to use that one on the left with the rose gold and sort of the different shades of bluey green colours. So I'm going to just cut this into a square, and I think I make like a 5.5 inch square, so it's 5.5 inches either way, and then I just find the halfway point for that. So this triangle is a bit smaller than the one that Evelyne used in her layout, but I'm still sort of following the general design of it. I really loved the colours that Evelyne had used, and I sort of had in mind some different colours when I first started putting this or when I first saw her layout and decided I wanted to scrap lift it. I did ask if that was okay, and she had agreed on Instagram that that was all right. So I'm really pleased that she agreed to that. So I hope you will check out some of her other layouts and some of her work as well. So this triangle with the palm trees and stuff like that, the sort of the tropical one, was a bit bigger than the length of my cardstock, so I did have to trim that. Well, I did have to trim that down a little bit so it's going to fit neatly in the corner. Now I decided just to distress the edges of both sheets a little bit. In Evelyne's layout, when you look at it, it does have those edges a little bit lifted. So I'm just going to stick those down on either side, so they're pointing in towards the centre where I'm going to sort of position my two photographs. So see how it's a little bit longer there? I'm going to now trim that down. I was going to trim it down earlier, but I knew that I'd just end up making that triangle shorter and shorter without getting to what I needed to do, so it was easier just to trim it once it was stuck down. So I've just grabbed some scraps again of white cardstock, some white daisy cardstock, and I'm just going to back the photos on here and then cut around them. You can see me sort of ferreting around trying to work out where my scissors were. I couldn't see the big scissors, so I'm just using my little scissors, which are the ones I'll often use for fussy cutting and stuff like that. But the scissors, they work, they do the job, so that is stuck down there. So I'm going to stick down the two photos. One of them I have just stuck down normally with my ATG gun. The next I have mounted with a little bit of 3D foam tape. So in Evelyne's layout she had the same photo twice. One was, I think she might have removed the colour from part of it and kept colour in some of it. However, I just made both of mine one of mine is sort of a bluey black colour. I just edited it in post. So I'm using an alphabet called the Framework Alphabet. I really liked how Evelyne's title did look like kind of a stamped cutout set of lettering. I'm not sure what she used exactly for that, but I really liked how that looked, so I decided to copy that using a alpha stamp that I had, and I'm just popping the letters through the Xyron and then smudging them down a little bit to make sure that the adhesive's well stuck to them, and it'll make them into stickers that'll be super easy to stick onto the layout to the right of the photos, just like the example that or the layout that I am scrap lifting. So her title sort of took a few parts to it. I am titling mine Ready to Scrap. So these photos I took in the cabin that I was staying at a scrap camp near Dunedin, which is sort of in the lower part of the South Island of New Zealand, if you're watching this from somewhere else. And it's a camp which is held each year. The two main organisers do a fabulous job. The food's fabulous and the accommodation's pretty comfy too. So we're in these sort of rooms. Thankfully I was in a room on my own. I did have to change rooms. I was with someone, but my husband tells me I snore, so I don't really want my friends to have to try and put up with me snoring at night in a different space. So that's just another sideline. And when I'm really tired, I know that I definitely snore. So at a scrap camp, when we're up late and you're out of your home environment, it's probably going to be one of those scenarios. So I'm using some stickers. I grabbed my pile of sticker sheets from past collections from Close to My Heart, and I'm just going through and randomly picking different ones. So I really liked the embellishing that Evelyne had done. She just had some nice little layers along some of the paper lines, some of the joins and stuff like that, and I decided I wanted to emulate how she had done that. There was some words, some text, and I've just pulled some of those out. So often when I finish a collection, I pull out the papers that I haven't used that are still 12 by 12 and pop them in one pile. The scraps get popped into another pile, and the sticker sheets sort of get stacked up as well until there's not much left, and then I'll slowly get rid of those, or I'll take them into my class at school when the kids are making stuff. Which reminds me, it's almost Mother's Day and I need to pull together some cards and things that my students can make for their mums to say Happy Mother's Day. So pulling out a few of these stars and a few hearts all around the place, a little bit random, but it's really cool having these stickers, so I'm just able to pull out different ones that work. You'll notice that I have a couple of sheets of some paper collections, and the stickers as well I really love, so I end up getting an extra set, or I might use another set to make some kits, and so I'll have some leftovers and stuff like that. So yeah, just pulling out some different ones that I think will work with this layout, and keeping in tune with the way that Evelyne has done hers. I do think perhaps I go a little bit overboard with some of these stickers, but I really like how it came out at the end anyway. So that's the main thing, I guess, that it's not in how it is to start with, it's how it finishes. So the stamp set that I'm now using here is a stamp set called Highlights, which was a VIP set that came out recently with a VIP highlights workshop, and that's something that people can sign up for separately to be a VIP with different makers. But I'm using some of the hearts from the stamp set. There's a couple of different sizes. I just liked that they weren't kind of perfect heart shapes. They just sort of had that slightly skinny, almost a lopey kind of heart, for want of a better word. But just about coming to an end here, and I just want to say thank you to Evelyne for being open to me to scrap lifting her layout, and I've really enjoyed having a go at using her style and the way that she put things together to create a page for my own memory keeping. Thanks for watching, and remember to check out down below for links to Evelyne's Instagram and YouTube, as well as some links to other people who are scraplifting other scrapbookers this month for May I Scraplift You. Thanks again for watching.